Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane back again with another amazing All American video. And y'all know I'm hyped. Let's go ahead and get into episode 7. I have really been enjoying rewatching. In addition to me going back and rewatching for the purposes of creating this content, we're currently rewatching season 3. So if you haven't already joined us for one of the amazing Saturday nights that we tap in and check in with each other and rewatch All American together and talk about it, y'all, we laugh, we cry, we go back and forth. Shout out to Antonio, who is team Cam Hive all day, because it seemed like every week we debate about that for at least 5 minutes. But it's all in good fun. It's really a great time, and it allows for us to connect, especially during this time. Like, it's still such a crazy time while the world is opening back up. You still have to maintain some kind of social distancing and protect each other. And we've really been able to create a space for us to just come together and enjoy each other's company, enjoy this series that we love so very much. So in addition to me rewatching with y'all, me going back and rewatching season 1 to create these videos has just made me so happy and reinvigorated my spirit around All American. And this episode is one for the record books as we go along. So episode 7 is the homecoming episode where a lot of things come to a head, child, and whew, we got a lot to talk about with it. If you're new here, I'm Erica Vane and I'm breaking down All American. I do so every day, sometimes twice a day. And you should really join the tribe by going ahead and hitting that subscribe button so that you do not miss an upload and you're right here ready whenever I drop a new All American video. I'm in the comment section replying to every one of you y'all's comments and connecting with you further there. So again, hit that subscribe button, join the tribe, and let's keep this thing going. So as I mentioned, this episode is going into homecoming. We have the homecoming game as well as the homecoming dance. And we start off getting certain visuals. We get the visual of Jordan connecting with Ripley, the girl that he met when they went to go and scout out Malibu. And they had that whole moment in previous episodes where Asher and Jordan had to get back on the same accord. We know that Spencer and Layla kissed last night. So we see Spencer early on applying pressure like, yo, what we doing? Where's that? What you thinking, how you feeling, all of that jazz early on. He wants to figure it out and he's pushing Layla to do so, and you could tell that he's definitely invested. That kiss told him everything that he needed to know, and now he like, look, let's do this. He's not about that sneaking around life, but he is still very much into her. That kiss told him that she's into him, so like, what it is, what it ain't, what we doing. And this is kind of where we really get to start to Spela in their ascension. Down in Crenshaw, Coop is still kicking it with Sean. We know that Coop is now living with Sean, so we get the moment with them, and she like, look, did you call JP and see about that job? He like, yo, have you talked to Spencer since you left his house? Because y'all wasn't on necessarily good terms. And we really just get to see with them the rapport they're building. They're definitely giving brother and sister vibes. And y'all, I miss Sean. I miss Sean so very much. Now, back over in Beverly Hills, we get a very important conversation. This is like within the first 8 minutes of this episode, y'all. Layla and Olivia sit down to talk. Olivia finds Layla sitting outside of the hangout, watching Asher, trying to figure out what she's about to say to Asher. And she just walks in and she rips the band-aids off. She's like, look, I saw y'all. And Layla's very remorseful. You can tell in the moment that even Olivia is approaching her, she's watching Asher, trying to figure out what to say, trying to figure out what to do. Layla, I think, struggled in this moment with doing what she wanted to do versus what people wanted her to do. And Olivia gives her horrible advice in this moment of not actually being honest and telling, but she does so from a place of she still has this secret with Asher that she hasn't revealed to Layla. So maybe what's secret, what's unsaid is better left unsaid so that you don't hurt the people involved. Layla still chooses to be honest about it, and it kind of backfires on her because Asher is very understanding in the moment, and that was very much so a surprise to me when I first watched this. And it doesn't necessarily get her out of the predicament that she's in, because from the moment that she kisses Spencer, you could tell that she no longer wants to be with Asher, even kind of before. So when he's like, okay, I forgive you, I'm so sorry, he does so from a place from he know what he did with Olivia, and he has yet to communicate that with her. So that's also why he is very forgiving. But it backfires on her because she thought that this would end their relationship so that she wouldn't have to, but it doesn't. But I really want to go back to the conversation with Olivia and Layla really quick. So up until this point, y'all, so we are 7 episodes in. Up until this point, Olivia has displayed that she's interested in Spencer from the very jump. And this is something that Layla clocked very early on. After the hot tub incident, you don't actually see Olivia and Spencer operating in that flirtatious, okay, I'm not sure if you like me, I'm not sure if you like me space, because she pulls back, still going along the guise of, is he or is he not my brother? And then from there, I kind of believe that it was in Olivia's court to reestablish the romantic feelings being there, because Spencer kind of fell back. It was his birthday, days after the hot tub incidents. We get to see like the birthday episode with Spencer and the very first interaction that they have when she's coming in and from a jog, and he's like, hey, what's up, how you doing, trying to make sure everything is cool with them, even though they just were naked in the hot tub last night together. She's all weird and distracted, not intending to be so, but trying to create some distance. And I could totally see how that would non-verbally communicate to him, like, okay, what happened wasn't something that she actually wanted to have happen, especially given that he knows that she has a complicated history. He's still getting to know this girl. She struggled with addiction before. Like, he doesn't necessarily know where she's at. Not that I think that he thinks that she relapsed or anything like that, but in that moment, he could totally get like, yo, maybe this was a mistake. I was a mistake. I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable, whatever. And he already had these feelings developing for Layla from the very first moment that he saw her, from, interacting with her. So I definitely think when I go back and rewatch season 1, I always get the reconfirmation that the ball was really in Olivia's court. And the fact that she did not apply more pressure, the fact that she did not recover after the whole "is Spencer my brother" gate, and actually present herself, was a fumble on her part for the whole bringing Olivia to be, because it's almost like, what did you expect, or what was Spencer supposed to do? Now, moving forward with the conversation with Olivia and Layla in this moment that I was speaking about, this is also, I think, a very huge tentpole moment of when Olivia says what she thinks she needs to say versus what she should say for her best health, her to express her feelings, and to just overall be honest. This was another moment where she's choosing not necessarily to be honest and choosing to protect herself, I think, versus protect other people's feelings. Even though it comes across like she's trying to protect other people's feelings, the actual decision isn't. It's actually a selfish decision of self-preservation for the space that she's currently occupying within the social setting that they're in. Did I say that correctly? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense in the comment section down below. Okay. But I don't want to harp on that too long, but this was a very huge conversation, I feel like, when we think about the history of Olivia, the history of Spela, what moments, if one or two things were done differently, how would it have changed the trajectory of everything? And then also a very huge moment for the character tracking and evolution of Olivia Baker. Child, I did not even put this together until this very moment of rewatching it, and I've rewatched this episode so many times now. But quick pop out moment, y'all. Spencer loved to leave a little voice message. He loved to leave a little voicemail. We get a moment where Layla did not show up at the lookout to actually talk to Spencer like he had planned at the start of the episode. And we see him on the bus leaving her a voice message. And honestly, y'all, this is very reminiscent of Vegas and him leaving that voice message for Liv. You better be consistent as a character. I can't. In this episode, we get the introduction to Tyrone as the new big bad. So we started the season with the idea that Sean was the problem. He was the gangbanger big bad. But ultimately, even he works for somebody, and him and Coop get summoned by Tyrone, who becomes like the new big villain, because we've now seen Sean segue into like, he's trying to get out the game. He's trying to get out of this life. And with his alliance with Coop and, friendship and growing relationship with Coop, you're definitely seeing his character change and evolve. And I'm so glad that Coop and Spencer were able to quickly rebound from the episode before and actually talk, because she is the one grounding thing for him in this episode. He is worried about Layla, stressed about what's going on, and we have seen, for these 7 episodes leading up to this moment, we have seen that they are each other's confidant, they are each other's grounding space, their safe space. Their friendship is something that they both really, really depend on, and your boy needed it, because when we actually get to go into homecoming at Beverly Hills, and he actually decides to take Coop as the date, Thank God, okay? Thank God, because these women, okay, and I'm about to say what I said, y'all, so you can let me know in the comment section down below that you disagree, because I know you going to disagree or whatever. But these women are choosing violence. Like, Olivia comes sashaying down these steps in this red hot Jessica Rabbit looking number, looking how she looking, just amazing, sultry, just y'all gonna get everything that I plan to give or whatever. And then Layla walks up behind in her pristine white Jackie O vibe next to Asher, like, look, this is where I'm at. And Spencer just sitting here like, oh, for real? Oh, okay, bet. Now, the Olivia thing, that was just like a call to moment of this was in her court. This is something on her. She had already pulled back and never actually presented herself or showed him that, no, you know what? It wasn't a mistake. I am actually interested in her. But Layla knew what she was doing. Layla knew, and your boy just he 0-2 in this moment. And thank God that Coop is there to lessen the blow, because not only is he not going with Liv, he not going with Layla, but Liv is going with Chris. What? Yeah, this is such a good episode. All American with the music pairing all season 1 was so spot on. When they walk into the homecoming, the music, the tone, the cinematography, everything is really just A1. Oh, and a quick side note, Grace and Billy go to chaperone because Laura is what? Super mom and awesome, and decides that, okay, Grace, you don't get to see your son in the setting because he goes to a new school. Let me go ahead and let you take my spot so that you can go ahead and gush over your baby boy. We're going to come back to that later because that presents something else. But when we get to the dang on homecoming, Layla is freaking out about sign placement and random things. It's like, sis, yeah, I know this anxiety is manifested because you're not here with who you want to really be here with. And Spencer, why you got to be Spencer? Because he's like, he sees her freaking out. He walks over, oh, you okay? Asher, of course, yeah, she okay. Mind your business. Don't be all over here. And that becomes a whole thing. But that drama has to happen for us to have a real honest check-in moment with Layla and Spencer. They sit on the stairs and they actually really have an honest heart-to-heart. And it's just the maturity for me. It's the vulnerability for me. It's the super solidness for me. And also for Layla, honey, because in this moment, this is what allows her to choose. You know what? You are who I really want, and this is what I'm finna do, because why would I, in what world would I pass up all of this, Spencer James, for a little bit of that, Asher Adams? It's giving, I am sensible and I'm going to make an intelligent decision. Now, really quick, back to Billy and Grace. They get locked in the Billy's office and ultimately wind up having a little heart-to-heart, a little conversation around his marriage and Laura, and that just really just gives us a little bit more character development. We get to understand where they are and all of that. I really like when I see Grace and Billy interact. And again, Coop to save the day again, because back in the homecoming dance, Coop pulls Chris over to have a conversation with Spencer. And while they need to have a conversation to heal their friendship, because they're supposed to be best friends, it ultimately becomes a conversation that directs towards Liv. They get to a cool place, but Chris makes a revelation that Spencer is not necessarily clear on until it's presented to him by Chris. But at this point, the train for Spayla has already left the station, so he kind of has already chosen who he wanted to choose in this moment. But I thought it was very important to note, because this is a very pivotal moment as well, when Chris says, nah, she was feeling you, it was something. Because Spencer's like, yeah, you know, we had a little something to begin with, whatever, but it was nothing. It was a mistake. And Chris is the one reaffirming, like, nah, it's something. It still is something. That hit Spencer. And this is how, honestly, y'all, this is the proof that all the proof that I needed, that it was like after that hot tub moment and her acting funny or acting different, he was just like, oh, okay, this is not that, so let me go ahead and be respectful and keep it pushing. And yes, Layla did break up with you, I guess, breaking your heart. Oh, poor Asher. But I don't feel sympathy for you, sir. And I definitely don't feel sympathy for you when you decide to continue to drink and then you hop your simple ass on stage and decide to slut shame Olivia and out all of y'all's business as if she has not been one of the, like, ooh. I have no idea. No, another pop out moment, y'all. I'm so sorry. But I have no earthly idea how anybody was ever okay with Olivia and Asher becoming a thing after this moment. Like, even their parents. How do you let your child choose to date this? I will wait. No, absolutely not. Rounding out the episode, we get the call back to Tyrone and how big, bad, and dangerous he's going to be when Coop has to leave the homecoming early to go cover for Sean because he is working for JP or doing whatever he got to do, cleaning up, putting his time in, paying his due so that he can get himself out of the life. And Coop decides like, yo, I got you, stay where you at, do what you're doing, I'll go and pick up the drop, I'll go handle this little gang business that we have. But she gets there late and Tyrone is there, and now he's like, it's on, I'm watching you, I'm watching Sean, and I'm on y'all's head. Now going back, because I kind of raced through the whole slut shaming real quick, let's go back to that, because from that slut shaming moment, get a moment and a beat between Liv and Layla, because Layla feels betrayed. Of course, all of this happened. Olivia just really could have been honest. And I do understand how Layla was really, really pissed. And she's right. Olivia should have told her. If Olivia would have told her about what happened with her and Asher, one, I don't believe that her and Layla's relationship would have changed or would have been over. I think that Layla would have gotten out of the relationship a lot sooner, which is what I think Layla's thinking in the moment and why she feels really, really betrayed. And a quick pop out moment again, y'all, that also tracks with her in season 3 being put back in that position because she gets back into a relationship with Spencer, and it's pretty much the same thing. Olivia allows her to without actually being honest with her about what's actually going on, so she allows her to stay into something that she shouldn't necessarily be in, thinking that she is working towards something or in something healthy, and she's not. Now I know we go back and forth about Olivia and Layla's relationship. I have a video about if Olivia and Layla were actually ever real friends, and I put a bulk of the weight on Layla in reference to not being a reciprocal friend, not being a great friend to Olivia. However, there are moments like this where Layla is 100% justified because Liv did lie. Now, yes, granted, Layla has developed feelings for Spencer, has not communicated those feelings to Olivia. The kiss actually happened. I do believe a lot of those things happened very, very organically and did not happen maliciously. So while those things hurt Olivia, they weren't meant to do so, or the decision wasn't actively made to not necessarily address it and confront it head on. However, on Liv's side, the decision was made not to confront these hurtful actions head on and to let them fester and to let them sit and lie dormant as secrets. And that's something that we gotta hold her accountable to, y'all. In the grand scheme of things of the Layla and Olivia friendship, I do believe that Olivia has shown up for Layla more and has done more for her. However, there are very, very pivotal moments where Liv's hands are not clean. And again, we got to hold her accountable to that. And I want to take a quick moment to talk about Billy's read of Asher. So he talks about he's suspended from games and he was drinking on school property. But what he really needs to be saying in this hallway is that you just outed my daughter and talked about how you slept with my daughter on this stage. Like, there was just not enough aggression for me. There was not enough anger. There was not enough care for Olivia in this actual interaction. And I know that you're his coach in the faculty or whatever, but absolutely not. Billy, I'm gonna need you to get it together. Way too many passes, way too many things have been given to Asher, and when in this moment of accountability, even this, he was able to get out almost unscathed for the most part. Because there definitely should have been more smoke in the city for his ass. Y'all, and again, this video is really long because there's so much stuff that happens in this episode. Y'all, Olivia decides, after all of this has gone down, all of these conversations, that she's going to leave Chris, say thank you for a great night, and walk her behind over and support a drunk Asher on a bench. Why? How? In what world? He can go ahead and sleep it off right out here. I'm sorry, y'all, but Liv was fumbling multiple bags in season 1. Like, fumbling. I can't. Before the episode ends, we get to see Spencer and Layla reunite at the lookout where they were initially supposed to meet. And we just get even more amazing, mature dialogue from Spencer. That's it. That's all. He is communicating to her that while he wants to be with her and he knows that she wants to be with him, there's a lot going on. It's just very heavy and he needs to give her space to emotionally process everything that's going on. And we love to see it. Like, they are teenagers, but child, we love to see it. There are some adults. There's some men that I dated that couldn't articulate that. So shout out to Spencer. And if y'all ever wonder why I ride for Spencer the way I do, Moments like this. Now, honorable mention, y'all, because I haven't talked about him much in this episode, is Jordan. He's with Ripley. He decided to do some foolishness with Ripley, and we're going to see that as we go forward in the series. But for the most part, Jordan is doing some non-consequential things in this episode, aside from going off with Ripley, staying out all night, and then getting busted when he tries to sneak back in. All right, y'all, that is my episode 7 breakdown. Let me know what you thought about the episode and all the things that happened. We have a lot between Olivia and Spayla that happens in this episode. Important little beats or little moments that are very important to tracking the trajectory of both relationships and how things have culminated. So I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, go on ahead and like the video, as well as hit the subscribe button and join the tribe. I'm breaking down All American every day, sometimes providing y'all with new videos twice a day, and you really want to not miss those uploads when they are made public. So hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss it. Go ahead and also hit that bell notification so that you get a notification every time I post. If you missed any of my season 1 breakdown so far, I'll have my season 1 playlist link for you right here, as well as my All About All American playlist right here. We have over 200 videos, y'all, so there's so much content. I promise you, at some point I've talked about, specifically with season 3, I've talked about something that you might have had a question about, so get into that playlist. And if you're looking for something new to watch, I got a suggestion for you right here. It's your girl Erica Vane, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.